Hey everyone. So, yeah, it's been quite the first full week for my mom. This is actually today's the start of her second full week. And if you're wondering, well, wait a minute, I thought she went back already about almost a month ago. And technically she did. It'll be a month in the next 3 days. But yeah, technically she did go back. But that was only for training. That was training, doing house visits, getting things ready for when they get the kids in. Although they kind of got a taste of that like the third day in, back in August, because they went back. I think it was the 19th or 20th, and then like the first Wednesday back, instead of training, they got their taste of what it's like to have kids by watching another site's kids. Those teachers went back to their site and kind of fixed it up, got it ready for when they can use it again for with their kids. Basically go back there. But according to my mom's friend, one of her close friends there, those teachers, they did that, but they goofed off more than anything. But, be that as it may, basically, yeah, the first 2 weeks outside of that one day were used for training, doing some training, getting their class back together, put together and everything and all that. And, until they got their kids, which would have been, on the day after Labor Day, which was the third. So basically that week, the week of Labor Day, that was not a full week. That was basically 4 days in. A full week is Monday through Friday. And she definitely felt that, believe it or not, last week, because that was the first full week she had, back there. And I can kind of tell that it's getting to her in a massive, massive way, because you could just see it in her face that she's getting a lot more tireder and everything. I mean, she's got to get up early, like around 5:30, 5:45, get herself ready, and within the hour try to get out the door and onto the road and deal with a lot of traffic. Like she dealt with traffic today. She said a lot of trucks and trailers and stuff like that, and just going up from Newman, California to Livermore and to the Altamont and everything. It's like, yeah, she's used to it. She knows where she's going, despite my sisters, or at least my middle sister, kind of telling her, hey, you do this and you go see your sister and Tracy. Like, why can't you travel down here? And I think what it is with my mom is it goes back to that night when me and her ran off the road because she was tired and I was tired, and I was also looking at my phone and everything. And it just, ever since then, she was like, no more, no more. I'm not doing this trip anymore. Even though technically she can do it. And she has proven on occasions that she can, quite honestly, drive from my middle sister's home in Modesto, the Modesto Empire borderline, if you will, at least close to it. I mean, literally, my sister is 9 miles away from Waterford, where we lived when we were kids at one point. But anyway, my mom can do that, but I think what it is that she's just getting at that point now to where she knows she can do it, but she wants to have a little luxury. I think that's what it is. It's about luxury. It's about, hey, I'm the grandma, I'm the matriarch. If you want me over at your place, I'm gonna ride with somebody, and or you're gonna have somebody pick me up, and then that's about it. So yeah, even though they might complain to her about that, it's like, well, she's been doing the travel from Newman or from wherever she's lived to her job for 20 years, so she knows the route, or at least she gets an idea of what the route's going to be. And yeah, though, like I said, getting back to what I was saying, you can tell it's getting to her to the point and everything that when she calls me up sometimes, I could hear her getting a little tireder, especially at lunch. Like to me, if she had enough time, she should just, and she's done this before. I don't know why she doesn't do it anymore. She should just, set the alarm, an alarm that she might have, something to go off, and just take a nap in her car. Just take a nap in her car, and get some shut eye, kind of rest up, recharge her battery, if you will, so that she'll have enough energy to finish the day. And that's what some people do. There's some people at my sister's job and some people at other jobs I've been at, even myself, to where we'll take the 30 minutes or 45 minutes or hour lunch we have, and we will just like, we'll eat. If we have time, we'll eat a little something, afterwards or before, we take a nap, kind of close our eyes to get a little recharge, re-rest, if you know what I mean. And, she used to do that, like I said, but she doesn't do that anymore because they reduced, I think, the lunch hours and everything from, I think it was 45 minutes, an hour, or something like that, to half an hour or 45 minutes. But again, you can tell it's getting to her to the point that I've suggested in the past that after she gets her stuff in, to come and just lay down on the couch here, which she does every night after dinner, and just take a nap for like an hour or 30 minutes and kind of recharge. Set the alarm on her phone and recharge a little bit with a little bit of a nap, or go in her room here and do the same thing. Because I've noticed at times that when she would do that, either because she wasn't feeling good, or she was just worn out, her body was just like physically just torn down because of the travel. I've seen that when she does that for a couple of hours, she gets back up, she's fine, she's rested. So maybe, hopefully she'll do that in the future, but we'll see. But like I said, you can kind of tell that, she's really, getting physically drained more so than she has in the past. I mean, of course, she's 75, but again, she's getting more physically drained than she has in the past. And you can see that. And, she's dealing with all this traffic. Sometimes it's slow traffic because of trailers and trucks. Sometimes, it's just traffic in general. Sometimes it's accidents because people are in a hurry. They're not thinking, and it's like, she's just getting at that point to where even recently, a couple of weeks ago, she told me she might even be considering finally just stepping away and be done with it. But I think it's a hereditary deal to where she just has to keep going, to where her goal mainly is to build up her account, her savings and checking account, mostly a checking account. Her goal is to build that up, just like anybody else's goal is, to the point that it's so, stabilized, it's so, above stabilized, that she can finally consider stepping away, and I don't blame her, but again, you could just tell that despite having that kind of a goal, this job's taking a toll on her, and she doesn't know what jobs close by, she can, maybe, get hired at, to where the travel is less stressful, and she could just be home within, like that, or within a time frame like that. So it's just one of those situations to where, again, again, she's just, the older she gets, the more it takes a toll on her and everything. But, she loves it. She loves the job. She loves what she's doing. She has good friends there. And I think that's also why it's kind of hard for her to want to leave, or even say, in an announcement to them, hey, this is my last year. I'm going to hang it up, But yeah, you can definitely tell, like, after the first full week. I mean, the first week, not the first full week, but the Tuesday through Friday, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, you can definitely tell that it got to her a little bit. She got tired and everything, more so than she did, I think, when she was doing the first 2 days of training. I mean, like I said earlier, the only time I saw her similar to what she looked like last week and even the week prior, the Tuesday to Friday, was that day that they got stuck with some kids from another site. They didn't know them, but they had to get stuck with them because the teachers from said site wanted to, have time to fix up their place and everything, but also goof around, as one friend of hers told her. But yeah, she basically, basically was, like I said, she was more tired than she was, those initial 2 weeks, and then basically she got a little tired. You can kind of tell that it got to her a little bit on the Tuesday till Friday. But again, as I'm trying to say, I'm trying to keep track of what I'm saying here. But she basically was just, you could just tell it really got to her last week. Like, you could tell she was just like done, and everything. even more so than, like I said, the previous Tuesday through Friday week. And then, of course, and now she's going back. This is her second full week back. We can only wonder, what's in store for her there. Hopefully, I can greet her with some good news and, tell her, hey, I'm going to be heading back to Kohl's to work to make some money because my unemployment, is close to going, and that's not a good sign, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I know it sounded like I rambled a little bit there, but yeah, outside of her going back to work, having her first full official week, not really much happened. Just providing content as best as I can, doing what I can, applying for jobs and what have you. And, what's even crazier is what happened on Saturday, because, of course, this vlog also includes, the Saturdays and the Sundays, if you will. But what happened on Saturday was interesting, to say the least. It really was. Because what happened on Saturday is I should have done this. Weeks before, or a couple weeks before. But I basically finally sent a maintenance request in to, to the property management, the people that own the house that we're renting from. So the reason I did that basically is because we have some blinds here above the sink. We have some blinds here above the sink that, as you could probably tell, are not they look all right from the naked eye, but if you really look, you can kind of tell that they need to be replaced because they're sagging down, and my mom doesn't want to take the chance that if she tries to open it, it comes down. The other reasoning too is our sprinklers, basically, and I'm going to step outside here for a second. Our sprinkler system here in the backyard is kind of like wonky a little bit. Like on this side, like from this end, all the way to, I would assume, try to do this correctly, to about, I would say right about here, or at least like right about this area, right here. A sprinkler system from there to here, from there to here, it works, but the other side, the other half of it doesn't. And that's that's another thing we had to send in and tell them, hey, we need the sprinkler system for the backyard working. And the other reason too, my mom showed me this because I guess during one of the times she was watering the lawn, it broke. The sprinkler head for this right here, popped off. So basically they need to replace that as well. They need to replace that as well. And I do apologize for that notification there. That's a Facebook message, I believe. So I do apologize for that. But I'm trying to lock the screen there. There we go. But yeah, basically the sprinkler head, which is, whoa, almost lost my phone there. Sorry. Which is right here. This is the sprinkler head off the sprinkler I just showed you. That's from the sprinkler I just showed you that popped off. So yeah, I had to do that. And what's crazy is my mom, being a teacher, obviously needs, the one thing she needs to do, in my opinion, is just kind of different, being a teacher and being a mom. That's what she needs to do, in my opinion. She needs to kind of different, being a mom and being a teacher. Kind of like leave the whole teacher aspect at work, leave that at work, and then focus more on being yourself, being a mom, being, being someone that's on a small, tiny vacay, if you will, once you clock out. But because she's a teacher, she gets very, very detailed. And that's another thing about my mom, and I'm sure it's the same with me at times. I can tell I get it from her, and my sisters get it from her. But, she is probably more so than us, detailed in, what she wants. So she tells me to describe to the maintenance people, not just the width and length, the length and the width, if you will, the horizontal, vertical, if you will, sizes for the blind to be replaced, or for the blind to get replaced with, the length, if you will, the width and length. But instead of just putting the numbers, because the guy that comes over here, he's a maintenance guy, he knows what he's doing. So being a maintenance guy, he would obviously know what the measurements are. My mom basically says, put in not just the measurements, but put in, the words wide and long. And I'm thinking to myself, Mom, he'll know. But, she wanted me to do it. So after kind of just going back and forth with her, I said, okay, fine, I'll put it in. So I put it in, and that's, that's basically what the hiccup was. It's like, she again, tells you she kind of allows that teacher mindset of hers to kind of overtake her regular rational thinking. Like, okay, it's like, okay, Mom, I think the guy will know. But again, she says for peace of mind, for his peace of mind and everything. But I think in reality, and she did let it slip a little bit when I was going back and forth with her, she kind of said for her peace of mind, and then I think she corrected herself by saying his, and saying, "Oh, he's not going to know and everything," and and I'm thinking, okay, fine, whatever. But I think in reality, because she's not a maintenance person herself, it's for her peace of mind, not for his, because I think she knows that he already can figure out what those measurements are, but it's more for her. So that was kind of interesting. And then later on that evening, in fact, going into the very early morning of Sunday, basically, and I did a video on this, Xfinity decides they're going to do a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of a maintenance update without telling us. And how do I know? Because I'm sleeping in my room. Here, and my mom wakes me up. She wakes me up. I'm stirring, like I mentioned in the video. I'm kind of stirring about, waking up on occasions, going back to sleep. And she wakes me up just as, I'm trying to get back to sleep, but just stirring, kind of moving around a little bit. And she tells me what's going on. And as I mentioned in the video, basically her TV, the cable box on her TV wasn't working, and it gave her the message of, please check the internet connection. I was like, what's going on here? So, as I mentioned in the video, after going through all that, after going through all that shamogany, if you will, because the box here on her TV was acting up, but the others weren't. After going through all the shamogany, from unplugging the master cable box, and trying to see if that works, and then finding out that everything got affected now, and it probably was just her TV to start out with, and then probably was going to domino effect to the others. After going through that, getting that RDX code about the internet and stuff, or checking the internet connection, after going through all that, finally, about a little after 3, we finally get something going. And it takes time, but officially a little after 4, going on to 5 o'clock in the morning, because I got up on occasions. I would go back to my room, go back to sleep, but I would kind of stir about thinking, okay, is the main TV going to go on? Because it was loading a lot. The main box was loading a lot longer. So I stirred about, got up, a couple of times, and checked, and it was still loading. And then basically a little before 5, I would say half hour to 15 minutes before 5, finally the TV starts working. Everything is back to normal. And then I'm thinking, okay, what is the reasoning, right? So I go back to bed, and while I'm still awake, trying to get back to sleep, I basically go and I check. I check online, I Google it, as to, what's going on and everything. And basically the answer I get is because, to me, the only other time I saw basically something like that is when they would do updates or maintenance, and they would let us know about it or something like that, or at least give us an inkling that they were doing it. Well, they didn't do that this time, but I knew it felt like that. It felt like they were doing something. So I looked online, I put in the code as to what it was and all that. And apparently, what I found out is companies like Xfinity, Comcast, Spectrum, Cablevision, whoever you have, whatever provider, if you still have cable at Dish or whatever that you own or that you subscribe from or pay for, they don't have to tell you, that they're doing an update if it's a minuscule update, a very minor update. They don't have to tell you that. And that to me is like, are you serious? Are you serious? Because I'm looking, like I said, I'm Googling all this, getting the answers I need. And the first thing that goes to my mind is, are you serious? Are you effing serious? That this whole situation we went through on very early Sunday morning, from essentially who knows when to about 4 or a little after 4 was a minor update, was a minor maintenance check. When I look at that, when I look at something for who knows how many lengths it was, maybe, or how length of a time it was, whether it was 20 minutes, or not 20 minutes, or whether it was 2 hours, maybe an hour. When I look at something that goes from an hour to 2 hours, just about, maybe even more, that's no minor update. That's no minor maintenance check. That basically to me is a full-on maintenance update that you always need to let people know about, and they didn't. And that's what pissed me off. And guess what? I asked anonymously online on Facebook, on the Newman Facebook group page, I asked if anybody else dealt with this. Now, the first person said, no, everything's fine on her part. But then, I asked again, and I even, I didn't ask again, but what I did is I posted anonymously, hey, if anybody's having issues, right now, here's why, here's the possible reason. And I even snapshotted the answer I got through Google. And basically, some person said, yeah, mine did the same thing. So apparently, whatever they were doing was not a minuscule minor update. It was a full-on maintenance update that they should have let people know about. They should have contacted people about, said, hey, on the app at least, say, hey, we got this maintenance outage we're going to do, check some stuff and all that. So if you lose service, that's why. Or at least lose part of your service, that's why. And I'm thinking, why not tell us that? Yes, it was mainly the cable, but they're saying check the internet. So I'm thinking, okay, unplug the internet, plug it back in, see what's going on. That's not the case. Instead, it was on their end for doing something that they should have let us know about. Either it was just focused on the cable or not, they should have let us know about it. But they didn't. They didn't. And what they need to realize is there are people late at night when they come home from work or late at night as they're getting ready for bed, they like to watch something on television. But it's like, oh, no, that's not a big deal. We're going to just take care of that. That's not a big deal. Well, nobody's going to be angry. BS on that. But yeah, that's what happened early Sunday morning, going into the actual Sunday. And thank God it got fixed, because I got a feeling a lot of football fans around here would not be happy if that continuously kept going. But yeah, that's kind of what the week was like. That's kind of what the week was like. This past week, the first full-on week for my mom at work, not the previous week. And this is her second full-on week starting today. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happening, and that's all I can really say in this vlog. Keep me getting back into work in your prayers, guys. I would really appreciate that. And also, while you're at it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. Also, click on the Teespring store link. It's at the bottom of the description. Help me out there by purchasing a long sleeve shirt in time for the fall, a mug, a t-shirt, a mouse pad. You'll be greatly appreciated. Or you'll be greatly, I think you'll be greatly appreciated yourself. That you'll be surprised about what you can get from my Teespring store. Also, check me out at the other places where you can find me at rumble.com at bwroses, odyssey.com at bwroses, divanart.com at bvw1979. Also, check me out at Venmo at bwroses. Also, there is a Venmo and a Cash App you can help me out with if you want to. If you want to donate there, that'd be greatly appreciated if you want to. Also, You can find me at all your favorite podcast affiliates from Spotify for Podcasters, iHeartRadio, Pandora, iTunes, Radio Public, and many more. But guys, that's all I'm going to say for this vlog. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. And until then, also super thanks will be open if you want to help that way too. After the video premieres. And as noted in the description, super chats, if you saw that, are open as well. Or were open. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. And until then, talk to y'all later.